Hi, my name's Mary Hill. I'm the social worker here at this organization. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Alicia Grant.
Okay, nice to meet you. Thank you for meeting with me, Alicia. And before we get started, I do want to go over confidentiality. And by that, I mean anything you say to me will remain in this office and confidential. But I only want you to share as much as you feel comfortable with. And there are a few exceptions in which I would have to share what you have talked to me about, and that would be if you disclose the mention of abuse to a minor or vulnerable adult, or if you mention any harm to yourself or others. And then, we are working in a multidisciplinary team with lots of different people, I may have to share some information, but that would only be information that you're okay with me sharing and you have signed off on.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
that makes sense.
Okay. And then at that any point in our meeting you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Are you comfortable where you're sitting? Do you need anything to drink before we get started?
I think I'm okay.
Okay. So Lisa, can you tell me a little bit about what brings you here?
Well, my sister referred me to this agency. Um, After I gave birth, I've been having some really down feelings,
Oh,
and I already have one daughter, and she's two.
mhm,
She's lovely, and I love her, and I love my son.
mhm.
I just can't seem to get out of this slump lately.
Sure, yeah. And when did you give birth to your son?
2 months ago.
Okay. And what are their names?
Aiden and Amanda.
Okay. So you say you've been just feeling in the slumps, just down. Can you tell me a little bit about what that feels like?
Yeah, I just feel sad all the time. I mean, even when my kids are being silly and cute, I just have a hard time enjoying that moment. And I try and take them to the park and spend time with them, but I just can't get myself to enjoy it.
Sure.
And I'm so tired all the time, but I can't sleep. I can't sleep at all. I close my eyes. I've tried taking melatonin, and nothing seems to help.
Okay. How long has this been happening where you've been having trouble sleeping?
Well, I'd say probably at the start of my second trimester,
Okay.
things started to get difficult just by being pregnant,
Mm,
but then it it seemed harder this time around with
sure.
my son.
And it seems like it's still happening even after the birth of your son?
It's worse.
Okay. And so if you were to say how often you experience this, say on a weekly level, is this something every day, weekly? How often is this?
It's it's every day.
Okay, yeah. And I know you also talked about how you use or you just don't enjoy taking your children, to the park and spending time with them. Is that something that you used to enjoy?
Oh yeah. I would take my daughter to the park all the time, out on walks, to the
Mhm.
aquarium. I just can't seem to get myself to do those things this time around.
Okay, yeah. So it's not that you don't want to do it, it's just that it's pretty hard for you and you just don't feel the same way that you used to feel before.
Yeah, I mean, I still love them.
Yeah, of
I
course.
just I don't love spending time with them right now.
Okay, yeah. And I'm sure feeling tired all the time too could impact that too.
Definitely. I catch myself getting a little bit irritable with them
Mhm.
and snap because I'm just exhausted.
Yeah. And so do you have any emotions or feelings that come with that?
I have a lot of feelings that comes with that. I've been feeling worthless. Like I just can't take care of my own children. I mean, with how tired I am and how sad I am, how how am I supposed to be a good mother?
Yeah. And it sounds like you really want to be a good mother. It's just difficult right now and you don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to love them the way they deserve.
Okay, yeah. And I just want to let you know you coming here is a big step too in showing your love for them as well.
Thank you.
Um,
Really hard.
and so these feelings you said of worthlessness, how often do they occur?
I'd say just about daily,
Okay. And
multiple times a day.
have you ever experienced these thoughts before? When did this start to increase?
I would say the feelings of worthlessness
Hmm.
kind of started around like the end of my third, like right before I was about to give birth. And then I thought it would go away after I had my son and just kind of got into things, but it just got worse.
Okay. So it seems like a lot of these different symptoms peaked after you gave birth, but you were still feeling them, just not as intensely before?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and have these symptoms impacted your responsibilities? What is your work life like? And I guess your family responsibilities like?
Well, I have a great job. I work at a grocery store right now, and I've been with them ever since I had to drop out of college after getting pregnant with my daughter.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like a second family over there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, they're awesome. But there's only so many excuses they can make for me because I have a hard time getting to work on time, if at all, because
Mm-hmm.
I just want to lay in bed all day. I can't get myself out.
Sure.
So I know they love me, but they're I can tell they're getting frustrated.
Okay. Um, and what's your home situation like?
I currently live with my older sister. Um, she she lets me just help with like utilities and stuff. She doesn't make me pay rent at the moment. Um, but things have been getting a little hard with her too.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, she tries to get me to eat and sleep well, and I know she's taking on a lot with my daughter,
Mhm.
but I don't think she understands the way I'm feeling.
Sure, yeah. And it sounds like even though you want to eat and sleep, it's really difficult for you to do those things.
Yeah, I've even lost weight after I gave birth to my son.
Okay. Um, and then does that also those feelings stop you from spending time with your children? Is she having to spend more time with them?
Definitely.
Okay.
I've been distancing myself kind of on purpose just
Mhm.
because I don't want to bring everybody else down with me.
Sure. That sounds incredibly difficult, especially hearing that, you want to spend time with your children, but that's really difficult.
Yeah.
Um, so have you ever had thoughts about hurting yourself or others in all of this?
No, I I've never thought about physically hurting myself or anybody else,
Okay.
but I have considered what it would be like if I wasn't here
Mhm.
to be a burden on my family,
Okay, yeah.
just to lighten their load.
Okay. So you've maybe had some of those thoughts, but you've never actually come up with a plan to do hurt yourself. Okay.
No, never.
But that sounds incredibly difficult to think about as well.
Yeah.
Um, and so you also mentioned so you're often feeling down. Are
Mhm.
there ever any periods where you feel kind of an extreme contrast to those sad moods, like on top of the world?
No, I
Okay.
almost wish I did.
Yeah, for sure. And then have you ever experienced anything where you've seen or heard things that weren't there?
No, no,
Okay. And then lastly, do you ever find that, you're excessively worrying to the point where you're noticing, symptoms in your body where your heart rate is pounding fast, you're feeling kind of jittery or on edge?
no. I mean, I definitely worry,
Mm.
but I don't feel jittery.
Okay, yeah.
It's almost hard for me to get jittery.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and then do you have any history of seeing a therapist?
Um, no, but I have considered it.
Okay.
Um, after the birth of my daughter,
Mhm.
I considered going to therapy because I was feeling kind of depressed and down, but I just thought that was normal because I'm a new mom and I was young. So I never ended up going.
So you thought about it but never went. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then so I know you mentioned that you grew up with your family and then you moved out after you were pregnant. Can you tell me a little bit about growing up and what that looked like?
Yeah. So I'm from a big family.
Okay.
So my dad is out of the picture, unfortunately, has been since I was young. And I've got six siblings.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm the seventh. So um, I've got three brothers, and then there's four girls.
Mhm.
So um, it was kind of a crazy household.
Sure. Yeah. And what was, your relationship like with your siblings or with your mother?
With my siblings, it was awesome. We were all super close. Um, we kind of had to be because my mom kind of acted the same way I am right now. She was always in her room, and I mean, we ended up finding out later that she was an alcoholic,
Okay.
and that probably contributed to some of her depression.
Yeah, for sure. And so you felt like she wasn't really maybe present when she was in those sad moods in your childhood?
Yeah, she wasn't really present much.
Okay, yeah. And then what was your school life like? Was that okay?
Yeah, yeah. I never really got bullied.
Okay.
I did get pregnant young, so that was hard.
Yeah.
But other than that, school was good. I really liked school, and I wish I could go back,
Mhm.
but that seems impossible right now.
Okay, yeah. But that's something you've thought about in the future?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And so you also said you had or have a good relationship with your siblings. What does that look like?
Oh, we call each other all the time, and I live with my older sister. She kind of had to take over a parent role, kind of. It was one of those big family things where the oldest kind of gets handed the youngest,
Yep.
and um, we've always been close. And she's kind of taken me under her wing ever since I've had my children.
Okay, yeah. And so when you first got pregnant, that's when you moved out and got the job at where you're at right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, and have you ever been involved? Have you ever used substances or are you currently using any substances or alcohol?
No, no, not at all. And it was hard for me to take melatonin to try and sleep
Yeah.
because of what I saw it do to my mom.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's difficult. And so how do you cope with, all of these things that you're feeling in these sad moods? How have you been coping?
Um, Coping, I'm not so sure, but I've when I feel down, I go into my room, shut all the lights off, and just lay there and try and sleep.
Yeah.
Sometimes if that doesn't work, I'll go on like a really long walk just by myself.
So you have, I guess, at least a couple things that you do to make yourself feel a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean it helps for the time being.
Yeah, sure. Um, and then I know you got a medical exam. We got some records sent over. Health-wise, how was that? How was the appointment and everything?
It went well. The only thing was that I'm um, experiencing some weight loss due to just not
Yeah.
eating,
Okay. And have you noticed like a change in energy as well with that weight loss too?
for sure. Yeah.
And how was the birth of your children? Was everything okay with health wise?
Yeah, yeah, the births themselves went seamlessly.
Okay. And I guess health wise, besides these symptoms you mentioned, you're feeling good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, I mean, I could be better,
Yeah.
but overall, I mean, I feel like I'm making some good steps.
Okay. Yeah. And then again, health isn't just the physical things, it's the emotional and the mental as well. Did you have any medical problems growing up?
No, nope, nothing like that. I don't, at least not that I know of.
Okay, yeah, great. So it seems like we're coming towards, the end of our session. And it seems based on your symptoms, you mentioned feeling fatigued and tired. Also those constant feelings of, hopelessness and sadness. Also you mentioned, a loss of pleasure in activities you want to use to enjoy. And also feeling guilt around the birth of your son. It seems like around your role as a mother and a sister. Um, it's possible you could have depressive disorder with peripartum onset. And so that's also commonly called postpartum depression,
Okay.
meaning, after the birth of your son, these symptoms really intensified for you. Do you have any questions around all of that?
I mean, I figured I would feel better by now. And I just worry that if this will happen if I want to have another child.
Yeah, for sure. And so with you coming to these sessions, and based on the information, I think you'd really benefit from a treatment plan. And, in that treatment plan, we can talk about ways that you can, if you are having the birth of a child, you can prepare for that, and how you're going to cope for that. Um,
Okay.
and then it could also even include counseling and possibly medication. How does that sound?
The medication scares me a little, but I'm definitely into the therapy.
Okay, yeah. And given on what you've shared, I think you would be very well suited for cognitive behavioral therapy. And that's something we could do together in sessions. And next session I can talk to you a little bit about more what that is and if that's a good fit for you. But also, the more sessions we have, we can also talk about maybe medications if that's something you're interested. But if that would be something that you could bring up if you ever feel comfortable. And if not, we really want to make this treatment plan, what you feel comfortable with and what you think would help you. Does that
Okay.
sound all right?
That sounds that sounds really nice.
Okay. And so I look forward to meeting, in these future sessions with you and working with you and around, these symptoms and identify some goals that you have for how you want to work through that.
Okay. Yeah. I really appreciate all your help.
Yes, and thank you so much for meeting me.
Of course.
So I look forward to meeting you next session. Do you have any last questions?
I don't believe so. I mean, I think we covered more than I even planned on.
Uh-huh. Okay, sounds great. Well, it was nice meeting you, Alicia.
You too, Mary. Thank you.